Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Heart and Hustle. We are so happy to have you. This is episode number 5 officially, which is super exciting because that was our goal to get to before we actually released the podcast. And I know I like to see like the behind the scenes of like businesses and decisions and stuff. So I did kind of just want to mention that for other people who might be looking into starting a podcast or what that looks like.
And if you listened to yesterday, you would have seen that or heard that how opposite we are, because I wouldn't even have mentioned that. I would have just released everything as if nobody knew that we pre-recorded 5 episodes before launch.
I know, but personally, one of my like personal goals that I'm trying to do with like the podcast and my business in general is I want to show people like what we're going through as we're going through it, or like what the behind the scenes of the building looks like, because I know that's the content that I enjoy consuming and that's what I always try to look for. And funny enough, like not Travis, I can't even see you looking for somebody who's, you know, kind of in the building phase, where I think you would go for the more established businesses and podcasts and stuff like that. I kind of like the messy middle. So here's to me showing that.
We can dive into my brain at some point about business and why I am the way I am about things. I have a different approach and it's tactical, but
for today, we are going to dedicate this episode to talking about gratitude and what that looks like for us. And I just put on my stories yesterday that gratitude has been a big practice of mine since I learned about the law of attraction before I even moved to Florida, so it's been over a decade now. But I feel like when I'm ever in a rut or stuck, or even now I've learned to do it when like I'm at the highest, I like to just spiral out about all the things I'm grateful for. Like I can get myself, I'm really emotional, so I can get moved to tears like really easily, and sometimes I'll just get so deep in thinking of all the little things I'm grateful for that I will literally start crying. And I do that more often than not now, but that was something I always tried to remember back in the beginning of my journey. When life, I wasn't living the dream. Like it felt like I was so far from my goals, but gratitude was the first and number one thing that had to shift in me in order for anything else to change. So with that being said, Trav, why don't you lead us off on like just some things you're grateful for, what that looks like for you, anything you want on the topic of gratitude, because I just want to spiral out about it.
So first and foremost, the biggest thing that I am grateful for is going to be you.
Oh.
And the reason that is not cliche in the sense that two people that have been together for a while, yada yada. I firmly believe that you were supposed to walk into my life, because I wasn't a disaster prior to you, but I also would have never fixed anything that I didn't even know existed internally that was just buried because I just didn't care to pay attention to it. It was never a resentment thing, like stuff from like my childhood.
You repressed things, so you already had them shoved away.
I'm very good at not even, like they are so buried that unless somebody brings it up, it's not there. It doesn't exist, like at all, like pure point blank period. But being grateful for you in the sense that you had already put in all the work to change things, fix things, dive into yourself, learn about yourself, and things I would have never done. I don't even know if I would have ever done it, because like I wasn't even looking for a partner when we found each other. So I could have potentially just flat out, and if I ended up with somebody else, that might not have even been part of their realm. Like that, I didn't know that about you until a couple years in that you did all that stuff, and like you didn't realize I obviously would have been hiding things because you kind of knew what to look for. Not even in the sense that like, oh, I'm hiding something, I would change the topic, but just like minor signs that are coming out. And I mean, it took you months before I would even let you in my family because many reasons. Number one, number two, just particularly because I was a very private person. After my previous relationship, I was single for a while, and I had said that I don't want that commitment. And Um, so I'm very grateful for you. For viewers' sake, something more relatable in the everyday world, I would say the number one thing I always tell people is like, how are you doing today? And I'm like, great, I woke up. Every day I'm thankful to be awake. And I think it's one thing to be like, oh yeah, that's obvious, I'm very happy I wake up every day too, but what are you doing with it? And the fact that people just don't say it, I don't know if you love it as much as you think you do. That is my go-to.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, many people, you ask them how their day is, they're going to flat out tell you, like, the truth, whether it's bad or good. Like, there's like, oh, it sucks for X, Y, and Z. It's like, well, all right, I wasn't hoping for that answer when you trauma dump it on me, and that's okay sometimes. Even if I'm having the worst day possible, and someone in the middle of the afternoon asks me how my day's going, I always say, great, I woke up today.
Yeah. Well, that's just the difference between somebody who looks at life through the lens of gratitude and can be grateful for the little things that are overlooked by everybody else, such as literally just waking up, like literally just being grateful for the oxygen, that there's enough in this beautiful condo for me to breathe in to like nourish my body. Like nobody actually thinks about those things unless you're going out of your way to think about those things. And the cool thing is that science backs up the fact that if you do have gratitude in the forefront of your mind and you can be grateful for all the little things, you are magnetic to attract all the bigger things to be grateful for. But like it starts with, that's why I said like it was really important to me in the beginning of my journey when it was hard to be grateful for things because I was so far from all of my goals, like literally had nothing. But if I could be grateful for all of, just waking up, like something that is just completely overlooked, unless you're going out of your way to find those things, then like that's how you can learn to. It's about looking at life through that lens, because you will continue that throughout your day, even if you're not like purposely looking on the bright side. It literally will rewire your brain to have to look on the bright side when other occurrences come up during the day that are way bigger than.
And we've talked about that many times. It's finding positivity in that. We've touched on that in other conversation. So,
and it is fun because like now being so knee deep in it, like deeper than knee deep, I I can't not immediately find the good in things. Like I don't try to anymore. Like my brain just does it.
Even when we do slip, though, the reason why it's impossible to not is the other person might not react to the situation the same. So if something that is like just quickly got under my skin might not have gotten under your skin, but you can see that I'm stewing on it and the gears are grinding to where you can try to just, you're not going to tell me what I need to do. You're just going to try and say like, hey, are you okay? And this and that. And then our communication is so good, we're not going to sit there but nothing's wrong. I'm going to flat out say, because you asked me as my partner, like, I really didn't like the way that this just unraveled in this instance when we were here with those people doing that or whatever the case may be. And then, like, for instance, let's say that's the example. You would be like, well, let's just try to remember not everybody's perfect, and we don't know what they were going through right then and there. Was it a chain reaction where somebody made that person upset, and then they were so flustered that it caused a ripple in what you had going on, and then now you're upset? But if we just took the time to realize that maybe this is a chain reaction, we can stop it, because then I could spiral out of control somewhere else. Not really spiral out of control, but you get what I'm saying. Like, then I could ripple into someone else's day, and then that happens, and then that happens. Well, we would rather just stop and untie the knot in the chain.
And that right there is a huge reason as to why, like, your partner and the people you surround yourself with in general, like, they literally depict
most important decision in your life. Yeah,
it depicts how you look at life. It depicts how you overcome obstacles. It depicts how you like grow through things or lack thereof, which seems to be the common practice these days. So with that being said, I also am very grateful for you. That's always number one on my list for, 100,000 reasons, but
go ahead, name them all 100,000.
Oh goodness, give me time. I'm not ready to rapid fire, but I could probably come up with, close to 100, because I find I'm grateful for every cell in your body. I'm grateful for every trauma you've ever been through, But like not most importantly, but the thing that I really want to touch on, because it's so unique about you, and this is why we can operate the way we do and grow the way we do, is because you are just so receptive to me, and we just know that like our intentions are always good. And even sometimes when I might come off like a little rough or harsh, because like I just get so passionate about things or frustrated about things, like I feel very deeply, but you understand how to handle me while still keeping yourself composed and knowing always like where I'm coming from, knowing, you know what I mean? Like you don't try to.
Intentions, that's huge.
Intentions literally everything I want to live my life by, and like we really do. And as long as you know it's always coming from a place of love, and not that like I feel like I made that sound bad, like always ream you out, but we both go through different phases where we need to be coached by each other.
It's like what we said. It's not about like we don't ever argue. That's first and foremost.
Ever.
We disagree, and we could easily disagree in a manner of letting people know like they disagree on this. Like if we're having a conversation, because the other thing is I always have her back. She always has my back.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing and one of the most attractive things for each other towards each other is we'll have each other's backs. We're also quick to let someone know, like, hey, just because you're my partner and I think you're in the wrong here, I'm not going to co-sign that kind of behavior. Like, you need to be called out on that because you're acting out of character. And
so that's exactly.
And everybody's human, so that's going to happen.
I think it's really hard for most men to put their ego down enough to let the woman in their life raise their standards and, like, hold them to that high-ass standard. And I think that's deep down what everybody who wants to be successful like wants. But if you take a step back and think about it, like most men, like me and you are both really good at, I hate to use the word coach because it doesn't feel right, but just like mentoring and leading and being the people that we are. We're both very, very strong, high achieving, like powerful leaders. Assist, yeah. Like, but a lot of men won't allow their woman to really be a partner in that way. And we both have opposite strengths. So you need to coach me in many things and I need to assist or coach you in many things. But like the fact that you allow me to so gracefully always blows my mind, because I know if it were any different, we wouldn't be the way we are. I couldn't be with somebody who, like, it wouldn't be the same, because then I would have to water myself down or tiptoe around my feelings, and that's what a lot of women do. They have to tiptoe around how they approach their partner, being able to give suggestions and or show you that, like, hey, we have these high standards and like you're falling short. What can we do to make sure we're both reaching that? And that's a conversation I feel like is lacking in a lot of relationships, and it's not lacking in ours, and it never has been lacking in ours. And that is exactly why our relationship and our life and like all these things are just so much stronger than most people's, because there's no ego involved in us helping each other. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to make you the best you possible, and you're doing the same for me.
Which I think which is so impossible, for a singular person who's an alpha to achieve that, let alone two of them living in the same household.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing, is someone always feels like, in a lot of times in relationships, where another thing I'm grateful for is, again, our communication. So that's number 2 for me, is absolutely the communication that we have for each other.
Yeah.
We're not afraid to call each other out. And what I mean by that is, there has been many instances, like we won't, tiptoe around something. There's been many times where we have a conversation about something we're disagreeing on, and it could be something related to how to handle something that came up in the business, or it could be something that came up with how are we going to go about this at practice tonight, or something like that for youth sports. And we could completely disagree, but then later on, I could not like it, and I'm not upset, but like I'm irritated by the responses. I'm just going to come straight up to you, and you've come straight up to me before, right out the gate. Let's say I was in the restroom, and you just, like, as soon as I open the door, you're there waiting, and you're just flat out like, I want to talk about earlier's conversation. I didn't really appreciate how it went with this and that, and this is where I'm coming from and why I didn't like it. And it's just like right into it. No wind up, no like that, but you got to have the communication, right? It wasn't... Yeah.
We learned those skills.
You didn't come rah-rah, and I don't come at you like chirp-chirp. Like, it's just straight up, let's cut to the chase in a nice, peaceful tone of, let's figure this out. And it's not like we're sitting there not talking to each other after that conversation happened, but we also just don't want it to go unchecked.
Yeah.
And that's how you build resentment, and that's how you build a negative interaction and a memory of, oh, well, your brain is going to process, oh, this is like the third or fourth time in however long that you've done that to me. Well, why don't you just get it over with the first time, and now the second time it happens, it's not as big of a deal, or now the third time it snowballed, it's an even bigger deal. Like, just get it out of the way. Everybody is so afraid to communicate with their partner because they're afraid of how they're going to respond. And I think that's
I think you create such a safe space for me too, because that also is like unlearned for me, because a lot of the men in my family, well, actually none of the men in my family are like you two, where they would be receptive to this type of communication, and none of the women in my family can communicate this way with their man. So this very much is also a learned skill, and while I learned that skill and kind of like demanded it because I refused to be in any different situation, you created that safe space and always reassured me that like that's gonna be okay. We were never gonna like have those evil communications that a lot of other people have, and that's why, because you created such a safe space. And I just want to give you all the flowers in the world, because you not only create a safe space for me, but you literally do for every single person we meet. Like, everybody's always so blown away by you, and a lot of that, you're just so safe. That is such a good word.
Do you want to know the absolute biggest secret and I'll give it to you guys completely for free?
Yeah, no curtains.
Go back to elementary school. Treat others the way you want to be treated.
That's it. It's always so foundational.
It's so dumb that people roll their eyes at, and they're just like, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, at the end of the day, at some point in your life, you're going to turn and realize, I create the problems for myself relating to certain topics because you refuse to take ownership for what you did. And the best thing you can do after you take step one, which is accountability, now you can practice doing it in the moment. Yeah. And then when you do it in the moment, you don't have to react, and there's nothing you need to apologize for. Because all you have to do is think about the second the first sentence comes out about where you know it's going to be a fight or an argument, or you're going to make somebody upset or angry at your actions or your verbal response to something. Right after the first sentence, all you have to do is think about, what would I do if this happened to me? And once you practice that enough, it just becomes natural of, my communication skills are better.
Yeah.
Everybody has their moment. You can still be upset at things. And I mean, I'm guilty.
We get upset.
But again, still get upset. But we immediately have a conversation right to it.
And we always, another thing we're grateful for, because that's what this episode's supposed to be about. I'm grateful for the fact that we're going back 9 years now, but one of our first conversations after we started dating and like realized, this was going to be a thing, we got serious really, really, really quickly, and we had like a really deep, long talk. I don't remember a lot of things, but I remember this just so clearly, of like us being on the same page. We were just agreeing that we're not going to dabble, like we're going to go all in, like we're going to be 100% loyal, we're going to be 100% this, that, we're always going to remember that we are teammates, and we are going to tackle the world that way. And since that day, like, we have never ever strayed from that. There's never been a time where either of us had to doubt that like we weren't on each other's team. And that's relevant because we tackle the entire world that way, but we also tackle our disagreements, or how we come to things from completely different directions every single time, because our brains are so opposite. But knowing that we're always striving for the same goal, we just both also know each other well enough to know that we arrived there completely differently, and we also have the safety and the freedom to explain to each other how we got there from those different aspects. Like, that's why we never argue, because we always at the end of the day understand we're just arriving to the same conclusion from different areas. So like, how can we explain how we both got here to still be on the same page? Like, we are always on the same page, and it's not because we are the same person, or like at the end of the day we just have the same morals and values and the same goal, but we approach everything differently, and it is so wild. But the key to all of that is our really clear understanding of the fact that we are teammates and we're never against each other, and we tackle everything together. So I'm very grateful for that first conversation that we had 9 years ago that really put us on the same page.
I remember your face, like you were super shocked.
At what, the conversation?
I brought it up, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm grateful that you were the one, because you're just such a unicorn. Like, why would you be the one to bring up, like, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this? Because neither of us were looking for a relationship at the time. So there was almost no point in playing the game. Like, if the whole reason we didn't want to be in relationships because we didn't want to be part of the games and the stuff, you know? So we were just like, if we're going to do this, let's fucking do it and go all in.
I think getting that conversation out of the way early is good, because at the end of the day, I've told her this before. I don't see this happening, and this isn't really like me like jinxing it because we want to talk about it to give you an idea. I have told her before, I said, as of like, I don't even know, probably a couple years ago, which would have put us at like 7 years or something, I had said, I just hope you know. And it was honestly, it came up weird. It came up in a conversation of gratitude. Like, we were talking about how thankful we are for things and this and that, and then she responded about how thankful she was about the situation as well.
We do this often, by the way. We literally just, that's why this episode's about gratitude. We spiral out about how grateful we are for each other, and we don't just keep it in our minds. We like have these conversations with each other.
And it's not like this relationship's hard, but what is challenging sometimes is remembering how to be great. Not be great, but just remembering what it takes to be great. Because you can't just stay stagnant. You have to evolve, right? Mm-hmm. So the conversation we had, and right after the conversation, I just laughed and smiled. And she goes, why is that funny? And ironically, I said, because I've told you before, like, if something were to happen between us, like, this shit's done. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm not interested in doing it.
He's out of the dating pool. Sorry, ladies. There is zero shot.
It's done. It's all right. Like, I don't want to waste that, and I shouldn't say waste, because every relationship's always a learning thing. Yeah. I don't want to straight up go through that again. I don't know if I could ever find somebody who would have been on the same page, put in that much work and time with somebody for it all to unravel. And usually when it happens like that, it's over some, like,
it's from not being on the same page through the growth.
It's damaging is what I was going to say. Like, it's damaging. Like, when two people that are so great come to an end, it usually falls on something that is, I don't want to necessarily say unforgivable, but on that level, like, so much that your partner was so taken back by your actions after so long, and you waited till that moment to have that, like, that's it. Like, and that's why, like I said, it's never going to happen, but
I've also agreed we don't want to be part of that.
Right. I've also only ever been in committed, like, serious, like, relationships. They've all been long. This is my longest one, of course. But again, I'm 34 and we've been together for 9 years. And, you know, that's over a quarter of my life. You think if something were to happen tomorrow, like, I'm going to want to start that again? No. I'd rather just be like, I don't want to find out how to be stressed in a relationship. That sounds so much more appealing.
Yeah. No,
I'd rather just go find female friends and just friend zone them. Like,
let's not even, we don't have to worry about that, which I'm very grateful for. No,
but then there's the fact of our daughter. I don't want that, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do I trust somebody? That's a whole nother level of trust too. So not just letting someone in for me, but it's like, how do I make sure that you're a great fit? Because the absolute, and we have seen this firsthand. People we know have got back into the dating pool and then have just treated the other person, like the new partner in, has treated the person's kids terribly.
That's crazy.
Like, they don't accept them. And it's just like, how did you not vet that process before you brought them in?
Yeah.
And how soon did you let them meet your kid?
And you know what? Funny enough, these are things that we also talked about before having a kid, like very early on in our relationship. Like, and we're just, when it comes to morals, values, and how we want our life to be and the people we want to be, like, we've just been so in line that we both look at things that way. And that's another thing that makes you so safe and I'm so grateful for. And actually, I say this often, I like being grateful for, like, the negative things, but I'm so grateful that you had such a traumatic childhood and honestly, like, your family dropped the ball in so many ways, but, like, all of these negative things have made you yearn so hard for, like, a really good life, to be a really good family man. It's so admirable that, like, one of your goals is to be the best family man, the best dad, the best partner, and a lot of men don't even have that on their radar. Probably because they're still living in fight or flight, right? Like, they haven't done the internal work and they don't have a relationship that's this safe. But the fact that your goal I can't imagine. I don't have to worry about any of the things that many other women worry about because it's against your core values. Like, you as a man to not be great for your family. You know what I mean? And
that's why I always say too, when people use the excuse, "Oh, you only know what you're shown."
Mm-hmm.
That is the one of the number one things I always just like bullshit.
Bullshit.
You're out. Like if you actually saw, and you can't just sit there and be like, "Oh yeah, well it's different. You're lucky, this and that." Like, no, it's not how it works. There's plenty of people like me that grew up the way I did, and then had family members that reacted and followed in the footsteps, and then had family members that were like, I don't want to be a part of any of that. Like, you're showing me what not to do. Yeah. So, no, it's not only what you're shown or what you were taught. Like, you can literally change how you want to change. And you can follow in the foot. It doesn't matter if it's a single family household, a dual family household. Like, I have seen it, and I know people specifically that were worse than me or better than me. And then the people that had the cookie cutter hallmark life, if they were only known what they were shown, then how come I know people that turned out as a disaster?
Yeah.
And that's why it's complete bullshit to me.
And no, it really is. And also that leads me to another thing I'm really grateful for you for is I know you're grateful for me that like I've helped you through personal development and finding yourself and like all those things, but you did already come with a mindset of like you weren't going to be anything like your family or anything like any of the negatives that were in your life. Like you didn't know what steps to take to like be better or overcome, but you knew that the things you were doing were very opposite of anything that you were shown.
Yeah, even just my siblings. Anytime I saw, obviously I got into trouble as a kid, but when you're talking like real trouble, I definitely zagged when they were zigging.
Yeah, and you didn't have a mentor or somebody to follow or like guide you as to what to do, but you knew you weren't doing that.
Yeah.
You know, so it was honestly really easy when I came in with like just a little more of a plan, a little more of an idea of like what it looks like to go through the personal development steps and like really choose what you want life to be. But I didn't have to beg you to be on the same page. I actually personally know other relationships who have fallen apart because the woman's into personal development and growth and like has these big dreams and all the things that it requires like in entrepreneurship, but then the man doesn't have that on their radar. Like the thing is in a relationship, especially with two entrepreneurs, two powerhouses, two leaders, if you're not both on the same page of wanting to grow, one's going to outgrow the other and it's not going to work if there comes a time where like one is, and not just for a period of time, not for a season, but like if one is truly just good and fine and happy with being stagnant and they've, you know, some people want to live an average life and that's okay. We need those people in society. Otherwise, like it'd be real weird out here. But if one person wants that and the other one wants to skyrocket and one's not willing to grow with the other, or at least do things better or be better, like it's not going to work. And I've seen people outgrown people and they're literally not together today after being married, having kids, all this stuff. But you both have to want better for your family and you both have to be striving for the same thing, even if you're going about it in different ways. So very grateful that you're willing to grow. We've always been willing to grow together and we always have grown together.
Yep.
And it looks completely different
and
for
we
both
always
of us.
take in what other people find their definition of being grateful is. So feel free to respond to this with what you find in your daily life that you can get gratitude from or things that you have learned.
Yeah.
So,
and I want to encourage you to think of the things like, don't just be, I'm grateful for my husband, I'm grateful for my kid. Like, think about the things that you overlook because they're so normal to you.
Right, not the non-cookie cutter thing.
Yes.
The reason why I started off that way is I made it something different. I'm thankful for her because she make sure that the dishes are in the dishwasher. Like, no, I literally said because she helped me have personal development. Like, that is completely different than just, oh, I'm thankful for my partner because they helped me out with chores around the house. Like, okay, I would hope so. I hope you didn't choose a loser. Like,
yeah, and going deep like that is literally what will rewire your brain. It creates a different aura than just saying like, hey, I'm grateful for, I don't know, this thing next to me or whatever. So yeah, let us know what you're grateful for outside of the norm, outside the cookie cutter. Like, think a little bit, get a little deeper, and writing it down is huge in like the gratitude practice. So write it down in our comments.
Yep. And now that you know that these 5 were recorded bang, 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 you can give us a little bit of more leeway knowing that we don't have an intro yet. So on that note, I'll give you the outro. So as always, it's peace up, A-Town down.
That's so fun.